Hello and welcome to the Pressure Night review of McFarlane Toys Doomslayer Bronze Edition. Now, I do want to apologize for my lighting. My lighting is not the best right now, and neither is my quality. I had to get a new camera. My other camera bit the dust on me, so this is not... I'm still trying to figure things out with this camera. It's not the best right now, but this review I did before with my old camera, but it would not turn out. No matter what I did, it looked like crap. It was terrible, and I ended up having to do it 2 or 3 times. I couldn't figure it out. The SH Figure Art Super Mario, I got it edited, got it all cleaned up, got it looking nice, posted it, and then my camera died. And if you hear any scratching noises, that's my dog in her kennel. She's fine. Just, we have a foot of snow where I live, so I can't let her outside, and she's all wet, so I can't let her run around in the house because she's soaking. But the SH Figure Art Super Mario review was the last review I did with that camera. And this camera, I'm still trying to figure things out, get everything adjusted. But this review probably won't look the best. But anyways, we were taking a look at McFarlane Toys Doomslayer Bronze Edition. And I don't know if this is a Walgreens exclusive or not. I got them at Walgreens for about 16 bucks, around 20. And I have to say, this figure is phenomenal. I am planning on doing a top 5 figures I was going to do 2019 and 2020, but some of the figures that I picked up that I thought were new on the shelf are not, like Mystic Gohan, the Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, because my Walmart and Walgreens still carry those figures on the shelf, brand new. So I thought they were newer than what they were, because they've been checked out on NECA and Bandai for a while, but I'm going to do a top 5 figure list that I have purchased this year. But anyways, we'll move on to Doomslayer here. But first, we take a look at him proper, we will look at his box. And please excuse my background being held up by a spray bottle. The spray bottle's there in case we got a kitten while my camera was dead. And my kitten likes to chew on these figures. They're softer rubber pieces. He likes to try to eat them. So that's there in case he tries to get into this review. So I can kind of deter him from that. We'll take a look at the box. You can see me in the background. Doomslayer Bronze Edition. The stand on this one I have not cut out yet because he really doesn't need it, and I don't feel like ruining the back of the box. You got Doomslayer there. You got Doom, 22 moving parts, 14 and up. Not a toy. This is not a toy, which is kind of funny because it says not a toy, but then McFarlane Toys. Not a toy, but it's made by McFarlane Toys. It's kind of funny. And on the back, you get the picture of Doomslayer. You got Doom up top. And if you're wondering why I'm doing the box sideways, the box is quite a bit bigger than Doomslayer is. On the side, you got Doom, or Doomslayer, Doom. And yeah, that's it for the packaging. And mine, the Marauder that I have, opened up flawlessly. This one, I don't know, I pulled out the little pull tab up here to open up the box, and it's just shredded. So I don't know why this box did. My Marauder, can't talk right now. My Marauder came out perfectly fine out of the packaging, but Doomslayer did not. And the plastic sled that he came on is not in the box either. I had him in storage for a while. I took that out to show you the stand. But first and foremost, before we take a look at Doomslayer himself, we will take a look at his accessories. Which he comes with the forearm blade, which is not warped, which I was kind of expecting it to be. And full disclosure, I have not played Doom since the original one. However long ago that was, I can't even tell you. But that's, I want to say I think it was the first 2 very, very original Dooms are the only 2 that I've ever played. Yeah, he's got his forearm blade. And he's got what I believe is called the Super Shotgun. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously it's a double-barreled shotgun, but it's got some pretty nice detailing. The forearm blade does. I'll bring that up too before I move on. I just kind of skimp over it. It's kind of got some bronze color and silver. I just don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this because there's molded detail, but it's kind of a muddy paint job. And that's really it for this. It's just the silver. You got some blade detailing, some bronze up there, some molded and detailing and stuff. And that's really it. But moving on to the shotgun here, you can see you got the grappling hook, which I believe that's what it is. It came out a little warped on here. I have tried to fix it, but it didn't come out right. You got this really lovely dry brushing all the way through the metal bits. You got some black for the wrapping on the handle. You have the butt of the gun, which, again, with that dry brushing. One thing that I don't particularly care for, I don't know if it's game accurate, there's no trigger, which I'll get into it here in a second. But you got some more brown detailing, some more sculpted in detailing, more of that wash. And one thing, I do wish the barrels were deeper. They're not very deep to kind of convey that it goes all the way through here. I have tried, or I have not tried Marvel Legends accessories, the Iron Man effects pieces to go in here, or the War of Cybertron Siege Battlemasters accessories to make it look like the gun's firing. I have not tried that yet. I might, but... And he does hold his accessories. Bring up this arm. You have a tab right here. You just want to take it. And it is a bit hard because you can see he's got the little... He's got a T-shaped tab. Get him out of the way. Mess with my focus. Come on. Now my autofocus just wants to die on me. Come on. It just kind of have a tab with two, kind of a T-shaped tab, if you will. And it just goes right in his forearm. I'm going to do this off camera because it is a little bit tricky. There we go. And it's on his forearm. I don't know why my autofocus is just all over the place right now. But you have it on his forearm. And his super shotgun can go in either hand. I just prefer to put it in this hand, and he holds it okay. You can kind of see that there's no trigger, but he holds it okay, but then there's no trigger, so it's just irritating. That's just one little gripe I have on this figure, and you can probably hear how tight these joints are. And I mean, he's not bad. He holds it fairly decent, but again, there's no trigger, and there's other issues we'll get into when we do his articulation, but we'll get into Doomslayer himself. Not at his stomach, although I do need to rotate to get that straightened up, which is a bit difficult to do on this figure. See if I can kind of raise my camera up here without knocking it over. My tripod is... Oops, I'm sitting on his plastic sled. The tripod that I'm also using is on its last legs. So that's why these videos have not been coming out lately, is because I don't really have very good video equipment. But detailing, you can see the helmet there. Nice gloss black. Get the nice shoulder plating. The silver. Got his back. With like the spine detailing here on the exosuit, or suit, whatever you want to call it. You can kind of see more of it continuing down on the separate piece. You got the belt, back of the legs, and these spikes are not sharp. They kind of feel like kind of like studs in a way, where they're not sharp, which is nice. But then on the other hand, if this is meant for adult collectors, I would have liked to actually seen a bit more of some actual kind of spikes like they do with the you know, the Godzilla and NECA figures. And, you know, some more of that. It just feels like more like riveting than it does spikes. But you can see his hands, which are slightly different. You can kind of see this one's a bit more open than this one. And he does have two trigger fingers on either side, so you can have this shotgun on either side. Move his arm out of the way so you can look at the side. Going down the front, you actually look at his chest, it's kind of glossed over it. And both shoulder plates are kind of the same. They're asymmetrical, but I mean, the difference is that silver kind of disc piece and these spikes. So that's pretty much it. Going down the front, you can see his chest piece with this detailing here. Going down the front, got a black stomach piece. Got his belt, thigh pieces. You got his boots, And he only has, he does have 2 peg holes, thought he only had 1. And tread detailing at the bottom of the boots, which is something you don't see on most stateside figures. Now, when I say this term stateside figure, that is because this is definitely an American release figure. Which is not bad, because it's a decent price point. It's a really, really good figure. But the articulation of this figure is very, very... It's there, but it's not really usable. He's got single jointed elbows that'll move a little under, about 90 degrees. Straighten this one back down. He's got a bicep swivel, which that's really all you get. You can't even move the shoulder plates out of the way because the way they're ball jointed, the way they're set up is they're ball jointed like down, so you can't really get it. He does have wrist articulation. That's as much as you're going to get out of it. Same with the other arm. Pretty much the same. Get a shoulder, and a shoulder cannon. Mine is really loose right here at this peg. It is on a ball joint back here, which I do not recommend popping out because I have tried and tried. I've heated this up for a good while, and I cannot get it to pop out. So I would not force it. I would not try to force it. But it's loose at this ball joint here, which isn't really a problem because you can kind of move it and it tightens up. But the hinge here is just loose. And it is on a ball joint at the top, which is tight. So you can get to kind of move out of his way if you need it to. And the head ball joint scares me because I don't know how well you can see in there, but it's just on this little tiny peg. And it can move upward that far. You can do like the shifting head movement to get it forward, to look down. You can bring it forward to get some head pivot, but then it looks weird because as soon as you move it back, it doesn't. Can rotate side to side. It feels like that post there's kind of flexing with the movements. He does have a diaphragm crunch. You can crunch forward that far, move back that far, which stand him up. Can't really move. I mean, he moves forward a hair, but moves back a bit more. He's got a rotation at the top of the torso and at the bottom. And you kind of see that this stomach piece likes to, it kind of floats around in there. So it is 2 separate joints from, it feels like 2 separate joints from the torso and kind of waist assembly. And I would like to apologize, this review is not the best, and I realize that my setup right here is going to have to change. I am working on changing it. It's just a nightmare right now with everything I got going on. College, I have a college, $2,000. My financial aid did not cover what it was supposed to. So that, and one of the other reasons why my videos have not been going up consistently is my pre-orders are not coming in. I had 2 Figma figures that's supposed to be, or 1 Figma figure is supposed to be in here in August. Still has not come in yet. So all my pre-orders, the only pre-orders that I've gotten in so far are Rung, Slitherfang, and Double Crosser, and that's it. So, but more on that in another video. Hips move forward that far. We'll move back that far. We'll move out that far, and it says rubber to kind of facilitate that movement. He does have a knee swivel at the bottom, right below the knee, which only moves that far on either side. Knees give you less than 90 degrees because of the bulk of the sculpt. Ankles will move down, will move up. No ankle pivot. Oops, I'll get that better in frame. You can move down, you can move up, side to side, and that's it. So this figure is not bad. I mean, obviously you're not going to get Doomslayer into any crazy, jumping or, any poses like that. But for his articulation, especially with the shotgun, we'll slide it back into his hand. He can't really get it forward because when you do, that's kind of it. You can't really get it forward at all. Now I know a lot of people are going to be saying, well, that looks fine. And it is fine. It's not bad with the articulation, but I really hate to lop this guy in with that. But when you compare him to, say, the Fortnite figures, those figures have a crazy ton of articulation. And I know that has to do a lot with their sculpt, but they have a lot of articulation for what they are. And this guy, while not bad, he kind of feels like they're old Halo figures. I don't know if you guys have ever had the old McFarlane Halo figures. I never did, but my cousin did when we were in, oh geez, I think elementary school, towards junior high. He had some. He had the Flood. I think it was McFarlane. He had Flood. Another Master Chief he had was McFarlane, and they were pretty good. But they felt like this figure. We could get him into some decent articulation poses, and I use the term decent, not good, but just decent. And it's kind of my main gripe with him and the Marauder. The Marauder I'll do a video on later on down the line. Is that, well, not bad if you collect American figures or stateside figures, but when you started collecting Tamashii Nations, you know, Bandai and stuff like that, you really kind of see how kind of not really dated, but just basic his articulation is. And 22 points of articulation is not bad in any stretch of the term, because Marvel Legends don't even have that. But where he's articulated is he needs more. I understand the knees because of the sculpt, but they could have added a second joint here to kind of give us more. And same with the elbows. There was probably a way to give us a double jointed elbow. So there was probably, I'm not saying that, you know, they screwed up and this figure is worthless. This is a really good figure for the price. I highly, highly, highly recommend him. But with that being said, when you compare him to Dragon Star's Gohan, it's at the same price point. I understand different companies, one's Bandai, and this guy is McFarlane. You can see the flaws in it. And even when you compare him with the Fortnite figures that they made around the same time, you can see how dated his articulation feels. And while that's not a bad thing, I understand, you know, you're probably just going to pose him, put him on the shelf, and leave him. Outside of just mostly standing there and looking menacingly, you can't do much with him. But on the other hand, that's one thing I love about this figure, is he's got some heft to him. He's pretty solid. He can take a beating. And being the bronze edition, that's why he's this kind of bronze color, and there's not a whole lot of coloring to him. Either version is fine, or any version you can give him is fine. But, you know, a rating out of 10, I would say this guy is an 8 out of 10. He would be a 10 out of 10 with better articulation, but for what he is, I highly, highly, highly recommend him, especially if you're a fan of Doom. Any of the Dooms, you know, whichever ones, I can't even think of what the original ones were called. But just an amazingly done figure. I'm going to take his accessories off because he can go back in storage. But just an amazingly done figure. And if you can find him, pick him up. I wouldn't really pay the online prices that some of these figures are going for, because I think at Big Bad Toy Store they're a little bit more expensive than they are in stores. I'd recommend going to GameStop or trying to get them from their websites first. That's not a slight against Big Bad Toy Store, because as anybody that has seen my storage room knows that I love Big Bad Toy Store. Almost all of my collection recently has come from them. But I would try to get this guy in stores or try to find him on the store's website. This has been a Prussian Knight review. I apologize for the wait, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment on what you liked or what I could do better. Like the video if you like the content. Yeah. Comment down below what was the first Doom game you played, and, you know, do you like Doom, or whatever video game do you like? Comment below, and I will see you folks next time.